Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is Magic. I'm going to be giving you some low-level analysis today. Not going to be actually casting a lot, just more on the analysis side. And I've been given a lot of replays to cast or to analyze so that they can get better at plays. It is a Friday. I don't expect there to be a ton of viewers on. And I trust that a lot of people have probably watched the video on demands on my YouTube channel and all of that. So without further ado, I want to go into a little bit about myself. Before I do this, since this is like the first big thing I think people are really replying to when it comes to me and my casting or me and my streaming in general, I guess. But I began playing RTS when Red Alert first came out. I mean, it was back when Windows 95 and 56K modems were like all you had, and cell phones like weren't even around. Like they were around, but like barely. Anywho, I did like playing it online, and I switched to StarCraft when it came out in '98. Of course, I played Melee a little bit, some use map settings games, and began mapping. I did map a little bit when I was pretty young, and then I switched over to Warcraft 3 when that came out. Did some more mapping there, played a little bit of the ladder there, and all that good stuff. Eventually, I switched back to StarCraft because Warcraft 3 was just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of different. And that's when I found out that StarCraft became such a big thing. It's I discovered the pro scene, and I realized that it became a major thing in Korea, and I thought that was really awesome. I really thought it was really cool that a video game became such a big thing where people actually like watched it like as a sport. So I mean, I thought that was very interesting. I kind of wanted to get into it a little bit. I tried to play Terran a little bit back in the day, or actually it was like 5 years ago or so now. But anyway, I couldn't keep up with everyone. I mean, everyone was already so good at everything. So I always liked the analysis of it. I liked watching people play still, so I still did that. And I just pretty much went back to mapping, made some StarCraft 1 custom maps and all that. And I don't mean mapping like Melee maps. I did make a couple of Melee maps. Like I remade Kulas Ravine for StarCraft 1, and I thought it was actually really close to the real thing. Of course, it wasn't really like balanced for StarCraft 1, and actually, it turns out it's not even really all that balanced for StarCraft 2. Of course, they took it out of the pool. But anyways, I naturally picked up StarCraft 2 when it came out, played the beta, just laddered a lot on the beta, and actually, I felt like I was doing pretty good compared to the general populace. So I played for quite a while. I figured like once I got into StarCraft 2, it'd be more about the custom games once again. But with StarCraft 2 coming out, I decided, okay, I'm really gonna play this a little bit harder. Try to actually learn it. And I really do like analyzing the strategy, looking at the strategy, saying, okay, this player did a good thing, this player did a bad thing, and so on. I would not say I'm very good at the game in general. I mean, I'm a Masters level Zerg player, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's just too fast paced for me. I can't keep up with everything. I don't click all that accurately. So I just kind of said, whatever, I'll keep playing it, just not try to be like a professional esports player or anything like that. I'd rather be more of an analysis type person, a caster. So I have been trying to do that. I've been casting since, January of 2011. I just kind of picked it up one day and said, hey, you know what? Maybe I can do this. And I looked at a lot of other casters, and I told myself, well, I don't know if I'd really agree with this or agree with that. Of course, most of those casters have gotten a lot better. I'm not going to tell names or anything like that, but at the time I felt like I could really one-up them and be a good caster. And so that became kind of my thing. I've been practicing it since then, and I've continued to cast. I don't have like a ton of viewers or anything like that. I feel like I don't market myself very well. Quite honestly, I don't feel like I actually know how to all that well. But anyways, let's see, is there anything I missed? Yeah, I guess not. Well, anyways, this is not going to be so much about me saying, okay, you need to change your style and do this differently. You need to do this strategy. I'm not going to be like that. This show is going to be more like, how can you do your style better? How can you cut little things out of it so that you can get something else faster, or maybe you moved your army in the wrong direction, or maybe you mismicroed or something like that, or you want to scout more often, stuff like that, stuff that just is in general good for your play no matter what race you play. So it's going to be more about your personal style and how can you improve on your personal style in general. So anyways, we're going to jump into the next game. It looks like actually I forgot to turn down my microphone headset, so if it's a little bit loud, I'm going to turn it down right now. There we go. Okay. For some reason, XSplit likes to like turn my microphone all the way to 100% when I set it at like 80% or 60. Actually, it's set at 60%. So it seems really loud, and I apologize for that. But I do have to reset it every single time I turn on XSplit, and it's really annoying. So, anyways, let's jump into one of these games here. Let me find one. And yeah, I'm gonna remove that overlay. I'm not gonna keep it up. It's not gonna be in your way. All right, here's that first one we're gonna do. All right. It'd be a lie to say that I'm not a little bit nervous, but you know, this is like the first time I'm really doing this kind of analysis. But anyways, it looks like we have NRG Tank Saint spawned at the top right as our red Terran player, and Democry is the guy who sent this replay. Thanks, Democry, for sending this. I really, I really like this. I really want to analyze replays for you guys, help you guys out, and of course that does help myself out. You know, I'm not like, gonna just say that it's just helping you guys, because I'm, obviously it's helping me as well. But anyways, let's see what happens this game. I did look over some of these games beforehand. There was a couple of games that someone sent that I actually just ran out of time to look at, and I do apologize for that, but that's going to be saved for last. And well, hopefully I can just do it on the fly. I did take some notes just because, well, this is the first time I'm doing this, and it's just kind of, I don't know, I feel like I should take notes. I think that's what Day 9 does, and I want to get away from that, to be perfectly honest. I want to kind of be able to do it on the fly and just be like, okay, this guy needs to do this and that and differently and whatever. So I'm going to stray away from that a little bit. I took a lot of notes on this first game, and I progressively took less and less notes on the games thereafter. So we'll see how this goes. So anyways, it looks like Democry. Let's get up that overlay. Going to get that gas pretty early on. I mean, he's going to be getting that fast speed. Nothing wrong with that at all. Get the speed whenever you want it. You don't want it right away when that pool finishes. Get it, Meanwhile, it looks like Tank Saint sending an SCV over to Scouts. Looks like this is going to be, well, he sees the gas. Actually, no, he did not see the gas. That's one of the things you really want to check for when you do scout. You want to check to see if your opponent has a gas, because that automatically says what is he doing to open. He sees that fast gas, then you can say, okay, he's opening Zerglings with fast speed. And that means he can pressure me. It means he doesn't have to, but he can pressure me if he chooses to. So I need to worry about that a little bit. You don't, continue to scout, make sure he doesn't do that. But anyways, looks like Tank Saint's going to go ahead, get that 2 racks going. And it looks like he took a gas as well. So, I mean, I believe that this is going to be, I think it turns into a Marine Marauder composition, which is okay. I mean, I'm not so big to say, oh, you can't go this composition in this matchup because it's bad. But I would say that I've seen it not working quite as well as certain other plays. So, I mean, if you make it work, then you make it work, then it's awesome, And more cheer to you, because if you're able to just make a strategy work, then, that's really good. That's excellent. Anyways, there was a bunker here. He just took it out really quick with those Zerglings. He hasn't really scouted yet. I do want to make note of that. He does have his Overlord in here. And I would say that this is not the best idea, just to scout with your Overlord, because a Marine is going to just pick it off. Even if it's Protoss, by the time your Overlord gets there, I mean, it moves so darn slow. 0.47 movement speed. That is like the slowest moving unit ever. So yeah, you don't want to just scout with your Overlord. I would say you definitely want to scout with a drone if you are going to scout. I mean, I definitely suggest scouting early on. I personally like to scout super early, like an 8 scout. The second drone I make out of my hatchery is a scout, because I want to make sure I get into the Terran base and see if there's gas or not. And that gas is going to show you if he's going to get a fast factory or he's going to go 2 racks and all that. It turns out, Tank Saint ended up getting the gas and these 2 barracks, so that would have been a little bit of a misunderstanding, I guess, if you did scout that and just assume that. But that's generally what you do. Anyways, it looks like Tank Saint did go for a factory. Just going to be getting that up, and I believe a command center after that. Let's see, what did my notes say? I don't know, not much yet, I guess. We gotta just wait and chill. Looks like he's going for, what is this? A Roach Warren. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Get a Roach Warren whenever you feel comfortable. You know, if Hellions are a big problem to you, maybe you want to get it sooner. If they're never a problem to you, then you can look at it and just say, okay, can I delay this a little bit? You know, do I really need it? That type of thing. And really good scouting is what lets you do that to decide, okay, do I need this Roach Warren now, or can I delay it a little bit, or can I just avoid getting it in general? You know, it really depends on a lot of things. Anyways, it looks like Tank Stank going to be plopping down that command center. Alright, so the Zerglings are going to be chasing this SCV around. That's perfectly fine. You know, you want to take out the SV when at all possible. But one of the things I noticed when I was watching this, he just stopped pretty much everything on his base to kill that SCV. And I would say that, well, I would say macro should have precedence over everything, unless it's like you have almost no bases and you know, like it's a really big thing, then it's a big deal. But killing off an SCV with a couple of Zerglings, you don't have to worry about so much. Just 1A, and they'll kill the SV, you know, in time. You know, you don't have, you know, if he finds out what you're doing, it's not going to be the end of the world if you have good macro. So I'd just say make sure that you, you know, just certain things, little things like that, like you don't have to move your Zerglings around to kill off an SCV, so don't worry about it so much. Just make sure that you're continuing to drone, continuing to make whatever units you need to do, and the tech and whatever else, you know, with that. So, you know, just spend your money, and as you can see, Democry has a little bit of money right now. He did have a little bit more just a minute ago, but now he just spent it on a couple of roaches here. So anyways, let's unpause this. Alright, so I'm going for that command center, perfectly fine. I mean, I would say definitely go for the SV if you can, but they were just going to get picked off anyway, so yeah. It's good that he's retreating. You don't want to just lose your guys for nothing. The idea is you want to get away with as much as you can for free. I stress this a lot. You know, kill off an SCV at that command center will delay it, but if you lose like 6 Zerglings trying to do it, then it's not a good idea to even attempt it. Because you want to get away with it for free. That's how you get ahead. Anyways, it looks like a couple of Marines and a couple of Hellions going to be threatening the front here, but as you can see, Democry doing a good job just having enough roaches out. I would say that you might want to cut a couple of these roaches. I mean, this early on. I mean, I'll just say that it's good to have them since you didn't scout. But if you were to scout and continue to scout, I mean, he actually come to think of it, he did scout with those Zerglings. He knows that there's a command center there. But I mean, just continue to do that kind of thing. Check around with your Zerglings, and you know, make sure you keep the watchtower. If he takes out your Zergling at the watchtower, kill it off again, and then well, then you don't have to overproduce on these roaches. You can make them into drones and expand and all that. This hatchery I personally do not like as much, because well, he's getting a layer right now, and he did have a little bit of extra money, but if he continues to spend his larva, he's not going to have that extra money anyway. So this hatchery seems a little bit early. You'll see a lot of pro players get a hatchery at this time, at like the 8-minute mark, which I believe is when it went down, or you know, soon thereafter, because they have like X drones at that time, and they can afford to keep using it, and they're going to like crank out a lot of Zerglings, so they need a lot of larvae, that type of thing. If you're going roaches, you don't really need it, especially if you're getting that layer tech, because you're going to have higher tech units that are going to cost more compared to the larva cost. I mean, the larva's like an extra resource. If you're building Zerglings, they have a high larva cost, whereas if you build roaches, they have a lower larva cost but a higher food cost. So I mean, there's just things to consider there when you're deciding whether or not to build the certain units and all that. I mean, and then of course you have to worry about, you know, what is he getting. Looks like, ooh, okay, good on that cancel, being very vigilant, making sure that his creep tumor does not die so he can continue to spread it. Very good play right there. And it looks like Terran now moving out with a bunch of Marines, a couple of Marauders, and a tank, and a couple of Hellions. So we'll see how Democry decides to deal with this. I mean, he has no idea that this is on the way. I wish that he would have a couple of Zerglings around just to make sure and see. You know, one at this watchtower can cover a lot of ground, so I mean, you want to make sure you keep a guy there, even with Hellions out, and then even maybe a roach there, you know, and then if you see him run into the vision, then you can always run out. So I mean, you want to make sure you do that. So Democry here doesn't have quite enough guys to kill this off. I hope that he does not try to kill it off until he has enough. Looks like he's going to go for it. Yeah, I'd say definitely do not do that. You want to wait for your Zerglings so they all attack at once. An army of a whole lot of guys attacking as one is going to be a lot stronger than two sets of armies attacking at two different times. That's just how StarCraft works. I mean, your opponent has so many units that are attacking, right? You know, so many Marines, they can only each attack at a certain time. You know, they have a cooldown on their attack. So if you have a whole bunch of guys, they can't attack all of them at once, whereas if you have just a few, then all of them can be attacked. So you're basically, you just have more general hit points in your army, which means they can't die as fast, you know, whereas you have more guys, so that you're doing more damage, and you're able to kill off a lot more while he's doing like the same amount of damage type of thing, you know? So I'll just say make sure that you keep your Zerglings with those guys, and you know, it's good that he waited to attack until then, or defend, I guess I should say. But I would say just make sure those Zerglings are with them. He could have just cleaned this entire thing up also, but not a big deal. If you want to just play it safe, that's totally fine. That's, to me, more of a stylistic type thing right now. Until you get like to the higher levels, then maybe you want to say, okay, I really need to kill these guys off. Anyways, it looks like a bunch of Hellions going to be making their way across. A couple of Zerglings preparing for a counterattack, maybe just see what's going on over there. Hellions just checking the expansions and all that. So, let's see. Alright, so a little bit of engagement up there. Zerglings just kind of scouting around pretty much. That is good that he pulled back. I really like that. Some players will just leave their Zerglings there to die, and yeah, you don't want to engage something unless you have the superior force, is what it pretty much is. Of course, for like Zerg, it's a little bit different. I mean, if you're able to trade armies, then it's usually a +1 for Zerg, because you, generally speaking, you have a stronger economy. So, you know, you're able to just reproduce units like crazy, so it's not even a big deal. Now it looks like Democrat just going to be checking that expansion, making sure there's no funny business with that early expansion, going to deny it if necessary. And now the Hellions going to be coming around to look around. Alright, so there's actually quite a bit of not much going on right now. Both players just pretty much going to sit back and macro a little bit. I would like to see, actually I do want to talk about this. Democry did have a hatchery there. I just want to say that Hellions are not going to take it out very easily, so I'd say don't worry about canceling it, just get a couple of roaches out there, you know. Do you have the roach speed? Let me see. Yeah, you do have the roach speed, so I mean that's even better. So, and then of course this creep tumor could be spread to help with that, but not a big deal, you know. Little things like that, you know, people forget. I forget creep tumors all the time, and I mean I'm in Masters and all that, so it does happen. Even at GM level, I'd say it happens. But let's see. Let's roll on and continue. So Terran actually has quite a bit of money. At this point, you know, I'd say, you know, you might look at a pro player play and say, okay, he has this many factors and this many barracks. That's all I should ever build, you know, at that time. Oh, he builds more this time, so I should build more at that time. That's not. I wouldn't really compare pro games to you in the timing sense, because I mean, pro players are able to constantly crank out guys out of their factories, out of their barracks, out of their command centers, which means everything happens more or sooner. So you kind of have to delay yourself in doing certain things. And well, if you forget macro at the same time, you know, a lot of players can't macro perfectly. I mean, perfect macro is something that's takes a long time to get used to and do. So I mean, I would just say add on some extra buildings. You know, if you really need to, add on some extra buildings. If you have 2,000, you might as well build like 2 command centers as well. And if one dies, it's not a big deal because you have so much extra money. And then if it doesn't die, then it has a big payoff. You're going to have even more money. So I mean, if you just have extra money like that, I would say just expand more, get more production buildings up, and just try to remember to build units. Which is actually pretty hard as Terran, if you ask me. Because I mean, as Zerg, you can just produce units whenever you want. You just like drone whenever you want, and you produce units whenever you want. So I mean, it's like, excuse me. Sorry about that. I tend to cough more when I talk a lot, but anyways, when you have that much money, just try to use it. Alright, so he's going to be trying to expand. It doesn't look safe, so I'd say maybe you want to put a command center here, or actually here because the gas is in the way, but then you can always float it over. It's just like a safer way to do it. And then in the meantime, you can crank out some extra SCVs so you can have it perfectly saturated when it's finished. Alright, but yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Zug. Looks like he has some good upgrades. Yeah, he's got +2 armor, +1 attack on his roaches. Nothing on his Zerglings, that's fine. Just looks like he's going to be going more for that kind of stuff. Okay, he has a ton of larvae. I'd say you definitely want to use that. You don't want to have just a bank of money. I'd say some of that could be drones right now. Let's see, he has 49 drones. Generally speaking, you want around 70 or 80, and allow pro players, even while they're being harassed and whatnot, can get 70 or 80 in like 12, 13 minutes at the latest, you know. So I mean, just get up your drone count, you know, because it's going to help you a lot. And then since you have so many minerals, you might want to get some gas here and put on some spines, stuff like that. And here comes a big Banshee attack. You saw there was 3 port Banshee right here, pretty much, and that's something to reckon with. Now again, scouting is a big deal. You want to scout, you know, as you can see, he doesn't really see much at all of his Terran opponent's base. You can actually do quite a bit with that. And, well, now he's surprised, and this would be pretty not good. So yeah, he's kind of just mustering up to get some spore crawlers and all that. And he's getting the Greater Spire, that's good. You know, he has the Ultra's Cavern as well, just producing some guys. Looks like no Ultras out yet. But at some point, I would say just having anti-air is going to be a good idea, whether it be mutas or corruptors or whatever. You know, just, I mean, I'd say it's better to scout. I mean, you always want to scout. That's the way you want to do it, so that you don't have to get anti-air unless you have to. You know, unless you really need it. You know, otherwise you're surprised like this, or you have to get anti-air at some point. You know, if you don't scout, you pretty much have to be prepared for anything. And these Banshees, of course, just getting complete surprise. And yeah, just not having enough to pull off. But the Corruptors are out now, it's all good. I would make note that Mutas would be better against Banshees, because you can harass with them. You can attack this base after you kill off those Banshees and kill off a couple of these tech labs and whatnot, prevent the Terran from ever doing that again, type of thing. But since he does have that Greater Spire going on, I'd say that is a good idea, just to get a couple of Corruptors out, because you can always just morph them into Broodlords, and those are going to be awesome. So yeah, that was a better call in that situation. And, well, I would like to see a couple of Broodlords being morphed in this corner or something like that, you know, just continuing to lay siege to this upper base here. That would help significantly, because then Terran doesn't have this starport. You know, he has a ton of money, he can't spend it, but he's going to be able to produce less units then, and that's going to be awesome to just take out a couple of those buildings. And then, of course, if he sends everything to defend it, most players at this level will send everything. Then you can just attack the front. You know, like attack the front and Zerglings, take out some tanks, lower his tank count. Because the tank count is really what you have to worry about. In high numbers, those are the ones that's okay to sacrifice some units for, to kill off tanks and Thors, things like that, things that are slow, take time to produce. Looks like Tank trying to keep that command center going. I mean, he had to lose it a second ago, but well, no. It's just kind of both players sitting back right now, both at pretty high food, and I would say that maybe Zerg wants to take another expansion a little bit sooner, you know, get up your drone count a little bit sooner. Looks like he's still at 40 drones. Just say it gets more drones out. You know, you had the larva for it before. I'm not sure if you do now. Yeah, it doesn't look like a ton of larva right now, but before you could definitely afford it. I would say just try not to keep your money so high. Try to keep it lower. And then, of course, once you're near 200 food, you want to add on some more production buildings. And especially for Terran, I mean, once again, he has a ton of money. You want to just add on production buildings when you have some extra money. And because then, I mean, if you forget to produce, then it's okay, because you have an extra building to help with that type of thing. So if you see yourself kind of like, this is just a good trick for this. I mean, if you see yourself having a ton of money and it's because you don't have enough production, because you can't remember to build units, I mean, I would not say that, like, oh, you should just look at your buildings and say, okay, I should not stop producing units. I mean, that is good. That would be good. But I would say, if that's kind of hard for you, I would say maybe you want to just try to do the opposite. If you have a ton of money, add on more production buildings. If you And then if you get to the point where you just have too many production buildings and you can't spend all, or you have too little money, then you can, the next game you play, you can fall back and say, okay, I don't really need to build as many. Just that kind of thing will help you a lot. I think a lot of players look at the game and say, okay, how can I do better this game? Instead of looking towards the future and saying, okay, this is what I need to do to prepare myself to get better at this. Adding more production buildings isn't going to make you a better player. It isn't going to just instantly make you a better player, but in the future, it will help you become a better player because you'll just be able to spend your money better, get more units out and all that. So it's just like a good stepping stone between things. So anyways, looks like Terran is finally coming out of his base with a ton of guys here. Lots of Marines, a bunch of tanks, and some Hellions and Marauders, all that good stuff. A good composition overall. I mean, he does have Vikings out for those Broodlords as well. So, but yeah, actually, Terran has a lot of extra money. Zerg does not. But yeah, he's getting all those Broodlords, so that's going to help out quite a bit. And yeah, I'm really glad that Zerg is not engaging right now. Just sitting back, waiting for those Broodlords, being pretty patient. That's what you want to be doing. Terran isn't destroying anything right now. You don't have to run in there and try to kill his stuff. Just sit back and be patient and get more stuff out, So, anyways, looks like the engagement is upon us. We're taking out some tanks that are on siege, which is always going to be awesome. Definitely want to see those tanks whenever you can. Just being so close to Zerg base with those tanks is not very, you just gotta be careful of that, because the creep is always a big threat. So anyways, just because there's so many Broodlords and so many Ultras, this is cleaned up pretty nicely. Roaches to absorb damage, Ultras to absorb some and deal it back since they have that splash, and then Broodlords to have Broodlings to absorb damage and deal some more damage as well. So just a really awesome composition. I mean, all tier 3 units with a couple of Roaches to absorb some damage is pretty darn nifty. So there's that GG, and let me just check my notes, see if there's anything I missed. I forgot to make note of, in that middle stage of the game where both players were just kind of sitting back, not really doing much, but like just building units type of thing. I would say that you might want to harass from either side, as Terran or Zerg, just harass. If you think you don't have the APM for it, if you don't think you're fast enough to get off a good harass, I'd say still go for it, because I mean that's going to help you raise your APM, help you get used to harassing like that, and then you're just going to be better overall. I mean, you're not going to like instantly get better at it. I mean, you might actually lose a game or two because of that, but I would say it's still a good idea because you want to play for the future. You want to say, okay, this is going to make me better, instead of saying this is going to help me right now type of thing, I mean, that's how I think players need to start looking at it to get better at StarCraft 2. Don't try to play it to win, play it to get better. So I mean, I think that's going to help quite a bit. Alright, let's see our next one. Flip over my notes. Yeah, it's this one. Alright. For the record, I am drinking honey water because it is very good for the throats. Makes you just say stuff better, I guess. It just, I don't know, it just soothes it as well. You just, sometimes my throat will hurt after talking a lot. Continuing like this. I mean, I think a lot of people think, oh, just talking, no big deal. But you're continually talking, constantly, and it's not like you're talking and then resting while you're listening. It's like you're just talking, so it's like your throat gets kind of out of it. So this really does help a lot. If any of you ever get into casting or ever get into analyzing or just doing a show, just remember the honey water is just like your good beverage to have. That and just water on the side is good too. I'd say just don't drink milk before you do it, because your mouth just gets really kind of, I don't know how I'd describe it, but Anyways, let's get into this next game. This one is submitted by Vanderhall. He's going to be playing our red Protoss player. I almost said Zerg, but he's Protoss. And we have Mike Mander spawned at the bottom, of course. And once again, this is Xel'Naga Caverns. Actually, I think all these games might be on Xel'Naga Caverns now that I think about it. I don't actually, I don't know. I'll probably choose a different one later on. because just because it is so much Xel'Naga Caverns. So anyways, let's go through this beginning a little bit early, or a little bit faster on ×2. You know, as you can see, Zerg is going to be going for a 7 pool. And Vanderhall just doing the standard thing, getting a pylon at the fronts, all that good stuff. Yeah, having the chrono boost, all that good stuff. And yeah, there's going to be some dudes coming out soon. Just for the record, I think a lot of players in the lower divisions are getting that Zergling pool on 7 and then not building any drones at all after that. I mean, it looks like he built 1 drone and 1 overlord, which is good. But I do want to state that if you go 8 pool, for example, you can actually build 2 Zerglings and an overlord and still have exactly 3 larvae when that pool finishes. You actually get the last larva exactly when that pool finishes, and the overlord. So you're able to produce 3 sets of Zerglings, have 9 drones, and have an overlord for the next set of food. So I just want to put that out there so people know about it. It's just a good build if you're going to do an 8 pool. I do it sometimes on 2v2 or something like that. You know, that's just how team is, you know. So anyways, he sees that pool, and yeah, let's see how he reacts to this. He's getting a gateway. Oh, I do want to go back actually, because I was bad and missed it. But this, what? Okay, this is what I want to make note of. He had a little bit of extra money, if you saw, before putting down that gate. You want to try to get it as soon as possible. Yeah, gateway, and then he's going to be putting down a forge as well. I mean, if you have your probe sitting out there, you might as well just get it right away, type of thing. I mean, you don't. I mean, if it's that you want to delay it so that you can mine just like 2 more minerals before putting it down because you're going to get 2 buildings here at the same time, then yeah, that's not a big deal. But anyways, it looks like he is going to be walling in here. Just for the record, if you ever see a 6 pool or a 7 pool or something like that, as Protoss, you can actually just put your gate down at 13, it's normal. Get your cybernetics core when that finishes, and his 6th set of Zerglings, you can actually just kill with your probes. And you can just continue on the game normally. So, I mean, it's not really even that big of a deal. If he keeps adding on Zerglings and he's all in, then you might want to consider walling in with that pylon and just getting up a couple of stalkers type of thing. But initially, you can actually just defend it with probes and not worry about it so much. Because, I mean, if you think about his drone counts, he's only at 7 still right now. You know, he's at 7. He's building on some more Zerglings. Or actually a Zergling and a drone, it looks like. But, so, I mean, he is pretty much going all in on this. And I would just say that you're going to have more probes. He has double the amount of probes. So, I mean, if you lose a few, it's not a big deal. If you have good micro, you won't lose, like, any. But, I mean, that's, even at the pro level, you, like, never see that. So, yeah. And that's generally because, you know, like, your opponent's going to be able to defend, or, you know, use micro to use those Zerglings better, type of thing. But, anyways, we're going to see him throw down a couple of cannons here. And, you know, this is actually okay. You know, he dealt with this okay. I would just say that he could actually just be ahead if he dealt with it a little bit differently. But yeah, if you count this many Zerglings, you know, there's, what, 10 here? If you count 10 Zerglings, like, it means that he really just doesn't have that many drones at all. I mean, as you can see, once again, he only has 8 now. And you can actually just 4-gate off this. You know, just get your gas, get your cyber, type of thing, and just win. So, and as you can see, put down that extra gateway, which is good. Make sure that those Zerglings do not get in. Wow. Okay, I apologize for that. Apparently my mic was turned off by accident somehow. I didn't touch it. I don't know what happened with that. I'm very sorry about that. It has happened before, but like this is just ridiculous. I thought I was better than that type of thing. Apparently I hit it by accident. Just kind of like dangling off my headset here. It might have just hit my jeans and turned itself off. I'm not sure when it was turned off, but I do want to just go over again really quick. If you have extra money, then spend your money faster. Like he got this Dark Shrine a little bit late. Let me just go back actually. God, that sucks. Alright, so let's go through this really fast. Oh man, that blows. Did not expect that to happen. Okay, right here, just add on a bunch of buildings. And it's okay to add on a bunch of buildings at once if you're adding on like gateways or something like that, because you're going to be able to get more units out sooner. If it allows you to say, like, for example, whoops, if you don't quite have the money to get, what, for example, this warp gate technology, or if you can't get a Zealot or something like that and you need a Zealot out to defend like a Zergling attack, then it's okay to not get gateways right away and just add them on all at once, because you're actually going to be able to get other stuff in the meantime, you know, like that Zealot, like that warp gate technology, and then just still have the same amount of units at a given time. You're going to be slightly weaker earlier on if you're not producing out of all your structures, but I mean, it's okay to cut that production for those buildings and all that, if necessary, at a certain time, you know. This Twilight Council, you don't really need to do that with. If you have enough for a Twilight Council, get it. If you have enough for 2 gateways, get 2 gateways. So the fact that he added on 2 gateways and a Twilight Council and this pylon all at once was not all that awesome, is all I'm saying. So I'll just say, check that. Just get the Twilight Council when you can afford it. You're going to be able to get your Dark Templar up sooner. You're going to be able to spend your money. Right now it's just kind of stockpiling money, and that's not the best. You definitely want to be spending that if at all possible. And yeah, if this Twilight Council was a little bit sooner, you could add on his Dark Shrine, which he's going to be adding on soon, earlier, and get Dark Templar out sooner, and Zerg's going to be less prepared. I mean, he just got his lair. I mean, yeah, let's see, what is he putting up? A Spire. Yeah, and then that's the other thing I actually went over during all that, when my mic was apparently off. It was okay for Zerg to stockpile a little bit of gas because he was getting that lair for that Spire. But yeah, generally speaking, you want to spend all your money when you can. So, alright, now he's going to be pushing out with these Zealots and that Sentry. And I'll just say that if he got this Twilight Council sooner, he would be able to get this Dark Shrine sooner, which means and if he got these gateways sooner, actually, he would be able to add on more units sooner. And he could have already expanded. This expansion could already be up and running, that he's about to put down. And he'd already have Dark Templar out harassing, and I mean, he has them out now, but I mean, could have had them a lot sooner. The other thing is, if you see an Overlord, you know, I mean, you should always actually spread out your Dark Templar, just because that happens. And he could have just picked off a bunch more drones, just attacking in 2 different places at once. And that Overseer can't really be in both places at once, so I mean, you'd just be able to kill off more because of that. So yeah. Anyways, I think I'm caught up with that now. Let's see, let's check my notes. Okay, yeah, I did go over that big thing about getting the gateways. And now he just has like a ton of extra money because he didn't get those gateways at a good time. I do like that he has some stalkers out here. You saw those mutas, just have a couple stalkers in the back, not a big deal. But at the same time, I feel like he needs to scout or pressure with these Zealots and things. I mean, I guess Zerg doesn't have the watchtowers, but generally speaking, they do. So I'd say maybe just run up to here and then run back, because that's going to allow you to force him to make units. I mean, I guess at this level, you know, players just kind of make units and drones whenever they feel it's appropriate. But you can actually force a player to make units if you do that kind of thing. Just make it look like you're going to attack and then just don't. So in this case, of course, it doesn't really matter since there's no guy at the watchtower. But as you can see, Vendor Hall is going to be going for those Archons and Zealots. He does have that Twilight or Templar Archives. Wow. But It's a good composition against Mutiling. It's going to help him out. But I don't know. I feel like he actually needs to spread his drones out or probes out. Spread some probes out to the natural. Once again, he has a ton of money. You could actually just get some more gateways. 3 gates is actually. I mean, even if you're going Dark Templar, you can actually afford 4 gates off 1 base at this time. So just make sure you have some extra gateways, and then when you expand, you can actually just add on a couple more gateways. I mean, then you're just going to be able to use that expansion right away. You know, you put your probes out there, and it's like instant more income, and then you're just going to be able to spend that with your gateways. So, moral of the story is, if you have some money floating around, add on some extra production buildings. And if you don't, if you play a game and like you really just can't use all your production buildings, then don't build as many, type of thing. So, anyways, let's speed this up a little bit. And yeah, still not adding on gateways. You definitely want to add them on for sure by now. Actually, for sure, for sure a long time ago, but you know. And yeah, no scouting or anything. I mean, that's okay as Protoss. I mean, I'd say maybe you want a Robo Bay just to get an observer out, just to scout, but I mean, if you don't really want to do that, that's okay. I mean, obviously it's not in Vanderhall's play, since he's going Archon Zealots. You know, just having an observer isn't really, it's kind of like out of the way type of thing. You know, you're not getting a Robo ever, so I mean, why would you, you know, get a Robo just for an observer? But yeah, as you can see, Mike just going to be adding on a whole bunch of guys here. Whoops. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. Okay. Let me just... I went back only once, so that's okay. I meant to do this. Yeah, hit B instead of N, so I was like... Alright, so anyways, here's the gateways going up. Looks like a whole bunch of gateways. 4 gateways going up right now. Totally fine. I mean, I'd say he has definitely a lot of money. I'd say maybe even add on another one. And at the same time, you can also add on gateways in the front here. Don't be worried about that. You know, gateways actually have a ton of shields and hit points. Don't be threatened to, you know, to put them in front, because that's going to make it so that Zerglings cannot run up here. You know, right now Zerglings can just run up there, go up here, kill a bunch of probes on hold position or something like that, and then your army would go up there to defend it, and then Zerglings would come over here to kill off these probes, and then you're just going to be screwed. So I mean, just having a couple of extra buildings out there is going to help prevent that. It's going to make it much harder for your opponents to actually do that. A lot of players will tend to put like a gateway here and a forge, which is totally cool. I mean, you have your forge up here, no big deal. That can just be a gateway instead, or tech building. I mean, if you're not, you know, I'd say in most cases, don't be afraid to show your tech. I mean, if you're able to, you know, your play should be, if he sees my tech or he sees my hatchery going up over there in the corner, I'm still gonna win. That should be how your play is. You know, like a ninja expansion. I mean, you know, pro players do ninja expansions, and it's okay, but it is relying on your opponent being bad, and you never want to actually do that. If you feel like you can't actually beat your opponent, then yeah, maybe you want to do that. But I would say, if you're playing to get better at this game, don't ever do one, ever. Just you know, play standard. Say, hey, if my opponent's going to be, and when I say standard, I mean standard for your style. You know, if your style, I guess, is ninja expansion, I guess go for it. But anyways, there's going to be a big engagement here. Vanderhall attacking with a lot of guys here, and Zerg's just not prepared for it. And I mean, he does have a lot of mutas out, and it looks like that Protoss, oh, you know, he just lost those Archons, you know, it's not good. But if you think about it, those Archons were definitely worth it, you know, considering how many mutas were killed and how many mutas are almost dead. So, you know, he has to retreat right now, and that's totally fine, but he does have all those Archons to make up for it, and now he has a big Zealot army to attack in there. A lot of the time I see players just say, okay, he has a bunch of mutas, I'm going to go try to kill him, I'm going to try to kill as many drones as possible. And, I mean, that's okay. I mean, that does kind of work sometimes, but I would say you kind of want to do the better play and just fall back and just get up some anti-air like this, and then now you have an even stronger push of death. What's Zerg going to do about this? Not much. He doesn't have a lot out here. You know, a couple of Zerglings aren't going to touch these Zealots and Archons. I mean, this is exactly what you want in this kind of play. So, very good job on deciding the I don't know if he decided Archons before he saw the Mutas or not, but if he decided to do it because of the Mutas, that's perfectly cool. I like seeing reactionary plays. You know, adapt to your opponents. That to me is what StarCraft 2 is a lot about. But yeah, now everyone's dead, and now Protoss is victorious. Of course, Zerg does have this extra base. I would say for Protoss, expand sooner, man. You have like 3,000 money, 3,000 minerals. I mean, you know, if you got those gateways up sooner, you'd have more units. You'd be able to defend this better if you had some gateways here, of course. And then he'd be able to knock this down, take a third, and you know, put up some buildings here for defense or something like that if you wanted to. And then you have like one nice opening to your base, and you can just go in and out of it and kill however you feel is good. But yeah, this is going to be wrapped up pretty much right now. 2x speed, warp ahead, Mr. Spock. No speed ahead, Mr. Spock. Yes. I don't watch a lot of Star Trek, so don't, yeah, I'm not good at that. But yeah, la-di-da-di-da, more moves coming out. Might give it a little bit of bad manner, no big deal. And yeah, alright, so let's go on to game number 3. Let's see, which one is game number 3? It looks like this one is... Alright. This one I'm not really sure who the sender was, because I totally forgot to ask people to include their, you know, which person they were, because I was not thinking about, like, oh, on Team Liquid they have a different screen name type of thing, you know, than StarCraft 2. But whatever, I'm just gonna do analysis on both of them. And I kind of have been doing analysis on both of them. And actually, I haven't actually been following my notes all that much. I've just kind of remembered things as they come along. I've seen the same kind of stuff as I did the first couple of times, so I'm actually feeling pretty good about being able to do it just on the fly type of thing. But we'll see what happens. I know Day 9 likes to take notes, and I think he likes to take notes because he wants to have a general theme with what he does. Like he'll devote a day to, oh, you should do this better, and this is how you do it better, and this is what you should be doing to do it better, you know? So I mean, he really drills it into your head. He has like the whole episode, like a 2-hour-long episode of like trying to do one little thing better, and that's totally cool. I like that style, but I think a lot of people would be like, okay, I get it, okay, you know, let's move on type of thing, you know? So I think some people do get kind of bored with that and have stopped watching for that reason. Whereas I want to be a little bit different, you know, I want to try to say, okay, you guys can do this better and this better and this better all in the same game type of thing, which I think will help a lot. So anyways, looks like Reddick, let's get up that overlay, Reddick. He is our Terran red person. He's just going pretty standard right now, just adding on that barracks, all that good stuff. And well, Artemis going for that hatch first, totally fine. If you go hatch first or pool first, I don't give a damn. It's whatever you want. It's more stylistic, if you ask me. I mean, you can argue that having a pool first means a faster queen, which means more larvae than a hatchery first, but at the same time, securing the hatchery first is actually more of a defensive move than an economic move, you know, from my eyes, because the queen will actually give you 1 extra larva from that hatchery. Hatchery will give you about 3 every time that a queen spews. It's actually probably slightly faster than the queen, so it might actually add up to 4, but that hatchery does cost 300 minerals, whereas the queen's only 150, and then you can get gas and stuff, and you know, while you're doing that. So I don't know, it's more of what you want to do. You know, this hatchery allows you to get a creep around, so you can defend against bunkers, put down some spines, and feel good and fuzzy inside. Reddick. Looks like he added on a double barracks and then a refinery. That's what my notes say. I feel like that's perfectly fine. That is like absolutely perfectly fine. But in a sec here, we'll see him actually get a lot of minerals compared to gas, and then add on a factory, and that's something I'm not quite cool with. I mean, I guess that one's kind of more stylistic too. But at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, he has a ton of minerals, and yeah. Actually, let's blast through this a little bit so we can get to that point. Alright, yeah, there's that factory, and as you can see, if you didn't put down that factory, that's, let me just make sure, 150 minerals plus the, well, you had like 250 at the time, so that would have been 400. Could have been a command center instead, and, well, I'll just say, if you're going for 2 barracks, then I'd say, okay, you're going to have enough guys to defend if you're pumping out guys from both barracks against, like, anything early on. And unless it's like a Baneling bust, then you might have a little bit of trouble. You might want to throw it on a bunker. You scout for that reason, type of thing. But yeah, going 2 barracks into factory is kind of like I guess you can do it. You just gotta time it better with this gas. I think you need to get this gas a little bit sooner, so that you can get this factory sooner and not have a whole bunch of minerals saved up right now. And then you can expand after that. So, anyways, it looks like Terran is gonna be moving out with the set of Marines. And while there's Zergling watching the tower, very good job on that. Artemis doing a very normal thing, just putting out a spine crawler at the natural. In this matchup, I'd say you pretty much just always want a spine crawler at the natural. I mean, at least one. You might want 2 or 3. I mean, I like to go more of a Spanish wall type style and go no gas into a whole bunch of spine crawlers, into a whole lot of drones, into get a bunch of gas at once, and then yeah. I mean, that to me just allows you to drone like crazy, but then there's a good timing attack for Hellion drops in your base that I always screw up with if I do that too much. But yeah, it looks like these Marines just went to the watchtower, took out the Zergling, and came over here to attack the rocks. This is totally fine. Make it look like, oh, I'm going to attack you, and then just not. So, I mean, that was totally cool. I would say that these Marines are a little bit in danger. I would say maybe you don't want them out here. You know, taking out this rock early, that is going to be a good idea, but at the same time, since you just forced your opponent to build some Zerglings, you might want to not be there, because he's going to probably try to use them, try to like look around with them. You know, Zerg 101 says, okay, if I have units, I should try to use them in some way, and that's good for you to attack those rocks, but the same way, he's going to have units now because you just forced him to build Zerglings. So now he's going to, you know, have units to, you know, he's going to look for a way to use them. So, I mean, he might be attacking you, and you might just want your Marines not in the open where they can just die, because that's just like a free 250 minerals right there. That's quite a bit, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, now the Zerglings are out, they just got the speed. Artemis actually being pretty smart about it, not moving out until he has the speed, and actually just getting speed at a reasonable time too, so, you know, doing a good job overall. Whoops, wow, that one was a total mistake. Okay, I'm doing bad today, I apologize. But, Artemis here, he got his gas a little bit too soon. As you can see, I think he knows that. Just not putting guys in the gas. If he decides to put guys in the gas right now, that'd be a mistake as well, because, well, you don't have the money. Yeah, he's just, okay, he's gonna put guys in the gas, okay. Okay, he has a spider going on. Okay, so I take all that back. I apologize, I didn't know about the lair. Now I was thinking, okay, he's just got a whole bunch of gas and he still has hatchery attacks, so why do you have so much gas? But I would say though, however, one of these gases may be a little bit too early. Maybe you want to just get one of them, you know, get 2 in your main and then 1 out here, and then another one later, because I mean, that's a lot of money that you could have spent on drones. Right now I'm sure he has a lot of larvae. He has 4 there, and he has 3 there, so I mean, yeah. And he doesn't have much money, so I'd just say you need to just kind of think about how much gas you actually need so you can drone up a little bit harder type of thing, so that you can get even more stuff at a certain time. So I mean, it's good that you have enough gas for your mutas, but right now this is starting to look like a muta all in, whereas like he has the gas and just enough minerals for those mutas, and he actually doesn't have enough for those mutas now that that spire is just done now. So I mean, you know, if you're going muta all in and that's what you want to do, then yeah, that's okay, but at this point in the game, you should not be really, to me, it's not really a good idea to just go all in with mutas, because I mean, mutas are not really something that kills a player. So maybe you want to just delay 1 or 2 of these gases while you're doing this, so that you can pump out some extra drones, and then while you're getting your mutas, you can throw up a 3rd, and you can harass with the mutas, lay down that pressure, and Terran is not going to want to move out at that time. If he moves out at that time, you can just kill everything in his base, and then just work up enough guys to kill off his guys. So I mean, that's not even a big deal. Like right now, usually Terrans want to sit back, get up that command center, get up some extra production buildings, some barracks, whatnot, power hard. And actually, I want to talk about that in a second. Powering just means you're adding on a bunch of buildings at once, a bunch of production buildings, just like in the last game. Actually, well, let's pause this for a second. A bunch of production buildings at once, just like in the last game where Protoss added on a bunch of gateways at once. That's good. Adding on a bunch of gateways at once is good. A bunch of barracks at once is good. Adding on tech, or delaying your tech so that you can add on more production buildings, not really, I don't know, that's not really good to me. You want to, the idea is you delay tech, or I mean you delay adding on those production buildings as you can afford them, so that you can have them at the same time when they're completed, so you can crank out Marines at the same time, add on tech labs and reactors at the same time as the other one, so that you get like a bunch of Marines out at once instead of like one Marine, one Marine, one Marine. You know, you want to have like 3 Marines coming out at the same time, so that once a bunch of Marines pop out, and say, okay, this is the time I want to attack. You know, instead of saying, okay, I want to wait a couple more, a couple more, a couple more. So I mean, otherwise, you know, then it's just like 1, 2, 3 type of thing. Like, oh, I just got a set of Marines, I can go now. Or, oh, I want to wait for one more set. You know, you get like a set of Marines instead of like one at a time type of thing, and it's just going to help you a little bit. Especially with defense. I mean, Zerglings popped up here. You want to have a bunch of Marines come out at once instead of one at a time, because one at a time is not nearly as strong as a whole bunch type of thing. So, okay, what was I actually talking about? Oh, powering. Yeah, it's good to power all at once. I mean, I really do like seeing that. What was I actually? What? Mutas all in. Oh, okay, yeah, I was saying that the mutas. Sorry, I just went in such a tangent. You know, talked about so many different like layers of this. There are a lot of layers to it, but what I was really talking about were the mutas. You know, right now you can actually throw down that hatchery. Because Terran wants to power at this time. This is a good time for Terran to power. He's not going to really push out at like 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Who does that type of thing? I mean, I'm sure there's players that do, but I'm just saying that's not a reasonable time for him to do that. So, you know, especially if you have mutas at his base, he's not going to want to do that. So, anyways, enough of that. I think I covered it. Hopefully, but anyways, Zergling's doing a little bit of a counterattack, taking out that mule, which is a good call, but you don't want to lose guys. You don't want to take out stuff for free. I would not say that that mule was equal to the amount of Zerglings that were just lost. I was like one set, and another set. That's like 4 sets, and that's what, 200 minerals. That's roughly about what you get from a mule. So I mean, it's not really. All right. So anyways, there's that hatchery, and he even has some money saved up. You know, I think a lot of players don't really look at that often. You know, they say, okay, I have a little bit of money. That's pretty normal for me. I'm not a professional player. But I'd say if you really want to get good, I think it's more important to actually use your money than to pick off like that mule, for example. You know, that's like a very small thing. I'm sure he scouted with that. That's good. That is really good. But I'd say, above all else, you should be keeping your money low, because that's going to actually push you into like a high-level play if you're able to do that. That's actually what I worked on first, and I quickly got into Diamond. You know, this is before Masters was there. I quickly got into Diamond easily, just having good micro, or I mean good macro. You know, just making guys, spending my money type of thing. Of course, now it's way different because, I mean, there's, well, you got to worry about harasses in your base and spreading creep, and I don't know, there's just a lot to it. So, anyways, let me check my notes. Oh, Zerg did tend to make a lot of lings early on, which is okay, you know, for some defense, but I'd say if you scout, you don't really need them. You know, he did scout, he saw that command center going up, I believe, so don't worry about adding on a ton of Zerglings. If he's expanding or if he's going tech, add on some drones and then wait like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, then add on a bunch of Zerglings, and you'll have a stronger economy with more Zerglings than you would have initially. So, you know, that's just like the way that Zerg powers. You power by droning up extra hard and taking an extra base type of thing. So, Artemis here taking the gold, which is totally fine. If he wants to take the gold, that is his choice. Let's see, what is Terran doing? Terran is getting those Thors, getting up barracks, and some medevacs. Alright. Pretty standard stuff. I mean, it looks like Terran just wants to get whatever he wants, and that's totally fine. If that's the way you play, that is totally cool. But I would look at your play and say, okay, what can you do better? And right now the mutas are going to get in there. There are some missile turrets up, that's good. I got a good time on this engineering bay. I would say you want to use this engineered bay and get some upgrades, you have the money for it. The only time you don't want to get upgrades is if you really need a whole bunch of units out or something like that, and you really can't afford it. As you can see, these Mutas doing some damage, he's doing a good job repairing that turret. Big flaw for Zerg attacking this. And I'd say, yeah, he killed off a lot of SCVs, that's a big win. You know, if you look at it, it's up in economy quite a bit. But at the same time, the cost was just too high. You know, like, I actually like to do that too. I like to actually attack that turret to kill off some SCVs. I'll actually try to kill off, or target the SCVs instead of the turret, type of thing. And that's actually pretty cool. Actually, I'll move a whole bunch of guys, spread out, like, you know, not in a group, and just attack that. Okay, I totally missed this, but let me just pause for a sec. You know, just spread my mutas out here, so actually a lot of SCVs die at once, and then one missile turret's not going to kill off all your mutas unless you're attacking the turret, because if you think about it, the mutalist bounce, you know, initially it does 9 damage, second bounce does 3 damage, which is like almost nothing, and the last bounce is 1 damage. That's like, you know, that's gross. You know, so I mean, it's a bounce, it's good that's a bounce, but it's not as much damage as you might think. So if you attack the turret, that's 9 damage to the turret, all these SCVs are repairing it, and then the next SCV that gets the hit takes 3 damage, and then one after that takes 1. So I mean, that's only 4 damage to the SCVs, whereas if you had a whole bunch spread out over the missile turret, some of them will be, you know, like the ones closest in range of the missile turret will attack the missile turret, the rest of them will attack the SCVs, and you'll just kill off a lot more SCVs because that first bounce will do 9, and you do, what, like 9, 3, and then let's say like the last one hits the missile turret, so I mean you do like 10 damage to SCVs, which is much better than saying 4. So, yeah. Anyways, it looks like, you know, Terran came in here, pressured this expansion. Redick doing a good job of that. I would say he definitely wants to expand during all this, but he doesn't really have a ton of money. I mean, he just lost a bunch of SCVs. I would say it's not the best time to expand, but oh, just something to think about. I think he might actually know that. So just add on some Zerglings. Yeah, as Zerg, if you have so much money saved up, just take another hatchery. I mean, you know, it looks like he's plopping down a macro hatchery, which is totally cool. But I'd say if Terran is going for slow units like this Thor, you can afford to get more hatcheries than normal. More bases, I mean. You can plop one down over here, and take the one at the gold. And then if one dies, no big deal, you have the other one, you know? It's like, okay, cool, whatever, I'm safe, I'm cool, I'm good. Actually, I do that like super early on in my play. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Like, I try to take a super fast third, and a lot of pro players will put down the macro hatch at that time, and I'll just say, okay, I'm gonna just take another base, and if my opponent finds it, okay, I lose it, and I'll just have, you know, crank out a bunch of guys. Sometimes Terran will attack then, and I'll like lose my natural and be like, okay, you think you've won, but I have a whole nother hatchery, booyah, and I'll just produce like a whole bunch of units. He'll like keep attacking, trying to like, okay, I just won, I'm just gonna keep attacking you to kill you. And it's like, okay, no, I actually have another hatchery, and you're not going to kill me at all. So, anyways, Terran coming back once again to finish the job, and he's expanding during all this. Actually, that was actually very nice. I like that. He pulled back, and I said, okay, I need enough money to expand, and then, okay, now I have enough, I'm going to go expand and attack at once. And that's just going to allow you to have more units out. But I do want to go back really quickly. I'm not sure where it was. Let's go back to here. Yeah, okay, he pulls back. Let's just put on like 4 times, no, yeah, 4 times speed. Alright, so now he has enough right now. Okay, well, he'll get in a second, but I do want to check to see how many guys were coming out right here. Alright, mutas are coming in, Thors are attacking at the same time. Totally fine. Alright, so he's pumping out guys continually. That's good. I really like that. That's, of course, what you always want to be doing. A little bit of queuing going on at his barracks. Let me just highlight all these buildings. Yeah, all the barracks are building units. So just remember the tab and like build guys out of your factory and stuff like that, just to get more Thors out. Of course, you know, you don't really have a ton of money since all your SCVs just died, and I understand if you don't want Thors, that's okay. I'm just, you know, pointing it out in case that you did want some and you just forgot to tab. You know, I just want to point it out to see if you wanted to do that. But anyways, he's going to be expanding. Yeah, he pulled back, gathered with his reinforcements. Now he has an even stronger push. that is very good play. I like to see that. That's something that even high-level players forget to do sometimes. So, a lot of master players I play against don't do that sort of thing, and actually they don't actually lose for it because I just suck at times. But yeah, that's really good that he did that. But yeah, that at the same time that Zerg build up a bunch of guys to defend, and yeah, but it's good that he took out that hatchery. Now he came back and attacked the end. But yeah, now he doesn't have like any guys because he doesn't have any SCVs. And I don't know. A lot of it was due to that Muta coming in there. I mean, I think a lot of people look at that and say, okay, he's losing right now because the Muta's got in there and killed off a bunch of SCVs. And I think that's fair to say. I really do. But if he didn't lose all those Mutas, he'd be able to do like more and more damage with them. If he was able to get away with damage for free, he'd be able to pick away at the Terran while still not losing in like as many Mutas. Like do like the same amount of damage spread over a whole bunch of time, instead of like going in there at once saying, okay, I'm gonna kill off a bunch of SVs. I don't care if I lose all my Mutas, so I can just rebuild them. You don't want to think of it like that. You want to say, okay, what can I do to do that for free? I'd say if Terran was better than he is now, he might have more guys out, and he'd just be able to push and kill you off because you just lost a bunch of Mutas, type of thing. So I mean, it looks like it's good, but it's actually not that great, type of thing. It's good in this situation, is what I mean. So Redick trying to do what he can, producing some Thors, some Mariners, and all that. And this is something that Terrans have actually struggled with a lot. Once Mutas are out, it's like, okay, I'm not fast enough to move my Marines around. I have to get Thors, and you might magic box them, and it just doesn't feel good to have Mutas running around. Okay, Zerglin's coming in with Mutas. But I guess I would just say that you really just need to bank a lot of Marines in this matchup. If he goes Mutas, you have to have a lot of Marines. Like, you can go mech, you can, it's just you have to do it very carefully and have a whole bunch of Thors around. I mean, he does have one in the back here, that's good. It looks like he doesn't have one here, but he has missile charts and these Marines in these bunkers, which is good. But yeah, trying to secure this expansion once again. Good. Yeah, his minerals are a little bit high, his gas is a little bit low. Definitely want to get that refinery. I don't know, I just say you want to keep checking your money. Day9 has said this, I've said it a few times. Your eyes should always be in like 3 different places. Look at the minimap. Is it anything coming to your base? No. Okay, check your minerals and food. Is it good? Do I need a supply depot? Do I need to get another gas? So I need this, if I have like a ton of minerals, I can get another gas. If I have a ton of gas, I can take guys out of gas to put them on minerals. And, you just want to keep checking that's the minimap. And, everything you need to do. Like, I have 300 minerals, it's time to build another couple of barracks, type of thing, And of course, Day9 adds that you need to be tabbing and looking at the bottom here. And, that's good, but I'd say don't worry about it so much unless, like, you're struggling to get into Masters or something like that. Or if you're struggling to get Grand Masters, then I'd say, yeah, you might want to work on tabbing. And it's a good idea to maybe get into tabbing while you're not that great yet, but I'd say maybe start with the basics and just make sure your money's low and all that good stuff. If you're spending your money, you have some good play, then maybe you want to work on tabbing. So I don't know, it's just not going to feel good to try to work on tabbing and lose like 1 million games because of it, because it's actually kind of hard to get used to. I'm sure as heck not used to it yet. Actually, I just remember the timings for, my larva just came off, I need to go spew, and actually that's exactly how I do it. People are kind of like bewildered by how I do it because, I don't actually tab to see if my queens are ready to inject again. So I think that means I have some really bad days where I just like don't have the timing in my head, and I just like miss a whole bunch of ejects. And that's just kind of how it works with me, and that's why you want to tab, so that you don't have those days. But that's just kind of how I do it, and I don't think I'm going to change because I don't look to becoming like a professional gamer or something like that. So, but yeah, if you guys really want to work on your play, then yeah, that's a good way to do it. So anyways, Muta's going in there doing some damage. Fine Thor is taking some damage as well. And well, now the Zergling's coming in to clean it up once again. And for the record, these Marines and Marauders do not have any upgrades, these Thors do not have any upgrades. And Zerg's sitting on a hefty +2/+2. You might think that that's not a lot, but I will tell you this right now. I've lost this matchup again and again and again because I refuse to get upgrades super fast. Actually, I didn't refuse, I just totally forgot like tons of times. And so my Zerglings would be at like 1-0, 1 attack, 0 armor. Or be at like 1 armor, 0 attack. And my opponent would be at like 2-2. And I'd feel like, oh man, the Marines are here. They're gonna clean up my Zerglings, gonna clean up my Banelings, gonna clean up all my Mutas, and it's like, it feels horrible. It feels like, oh, the Marine is so unbalanced. This is not fair. That's how it feels. But the truth is that extra 1 damage, think about it, 1 damage across however many Zerglings. Think about that. That is a lot of damage. You can kill stuff off way faster. That is not an exaggeration. You can kill stuff off so much faster. I mean, the Marine, the same thing. The Marine has anything that has a very fast attack, you know, low or a high or a low number for the weapon speed, and not so much damage, is gonna be helped a lot. Like, I think Zerglings actually get more out of it than Roaches. Hydras get a lot out of it too. Roaches get +2 to make up for it, but I don't know. I feel like Zerglings still get more out of it than that. So yeah, Stalkers actually don't get as much out of it because they only get +1, +2 to armored, but of course it does help out still. It's just in the late game, if Zerg is 3-3 and you're 3-3, Zerg's going to be a little bit better than he would be if you were both 0-0 type of thing. So there's all that. You want to just make sure you get your upgrades. It is beyond important. I cannot stress it enough. That's something I forget a lot. I used to forget more than I do now, but it doesn't feel good. So anyways, Terran going to be falling more and more behind because that Muta attack. He's run out of minerals. He has all his SV. He's kind of just repairing that turret, even though it's not under attack. I'd say watch for that. You know, if you have all your SVs on idle, there's a big icon that pops up here that says, "Hey, you have an SV on idle." If you have like a whole bunch of SVs on idle, it should be like a big red flag. Oh, I gotta move those right now. Gotta move them right now. Like for me, I see 1 on idle. I'm like, oh, I gotta move it. I gotta do it. I gotta do something with that, you know, type of thing. So that's gonna help you a lot too, of course. But I mean, at this stage of the game, it's kind of like, okay, I lost. What do I do? I'm sure. Oh, he even gives the GG right there. Just thinking about, okay, what could I have done better, type of thing. And I'll say if you're going Thor, you have to kind of be really careful with how you expand. I mean, if you're going a lot of mech like that, because maybe you want some buildings out here to take up some space, make it so Zerg can't really just counterattack very easily. You know, he got in there some Mutas pretty early on, and I'm sure that feels not that great. You know, Mutas even have +2 attack right now. So I'll just say, to be perfectly honest, I think the unit composition could use a little bit of work. You know, when he got that gas early on, just maybe you want to rewind this to look at that a little bit more, because I can't remember exactly how it was, but you know, when he got his buildings, let's see what else. The upgrades is a big one. You know, Zerion plus upgrades is a big deal. You know, Mutas, their bounce, you know, they get +1 per upgrade. So, or actually, yeah, +1. So I mean, the first one does, you know, if you got 1 upgrade, the first one does 10. The second one actually just gets +0.3, and the last one gets +0.1. So I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, I think a lot of players think it's much better than it actually is, but it actually is as good as you might think, because I don't know, Mutas with +1 attack actually kill stuff off quite a bit faster as well. So I mean, 3.3 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like 3.3 plus 1.1 extra damage from those 2 bounces. So I don't know, it does add up, type of thing. Yeah, just I don't know. I'd actually look for more engagement opportunities. You know, like he wasn't using his, you know, just, I would not say rush for Thor. I would say don't rush for Thor. Rush for Get some Marines and Marauders out. If you're going to go this, maybe go for some Marines and Marauders early on. Do a light pressure with it. You know, force Zerg to make some Zerglings and whatnot. Fall back. Try not to lose any guys in that, of course. Maybe expander and all that. I'd say get up your expansion sooner. That's actually one of the big things. Since you went this 2 barracks and the factory into expansion, the expansion was a little bit late, and you didn't really do a lot of pressure with that early on, and so mutas were able to come up here and just do a lot of damage. So I'd just work on that a little bit. Just maybe get the expansion before the factory or something like that, or get the gas a little bit sooner, so get the factory faster and then the command center faster, and just getting your stuff a little bit faster. I'd say for Zerg, it's easy to do that. It's easy to time things out because you only have so many buildings. Like, your hatchery produces all your units, so you don't have to worry about it so much. But as Terran, I'd say it's a big deal to try to get things at a certain time. You know, rearrange when you get certain buildings so that you can get stuff out faster. And you know, like that refinery was a little bit late, and that's like the whole thing right now. I think that's what I'm really talking about, because that delayed the factory and then delayed the command center. So, whew. I do have a couple more replays I want to go over. I'm doing these blind though. I have not looked at them. Let me just put that up real quick. Take a short break from talking. Just kind of sit here for a minute. I'm gonna check the chat, see if you guys have any questions so far. I can look at that. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I don't want Netflix, darn it. I want my channel. So if you have any questions, it looks like there's only like one guy here right now, which is totally fine. Yeah, I forgot to mention this when I began. My widescreen monitor broke. Like the thing that turns the fluorescent bulbs on broke, and I can't really get it fixed anymore. So it's actually not here in my house anymore at all. So I don't have a widescreen monitor. I apologize for it. I can't really afford another monitor right now, to be perfectly honest. So this, I think it's 5:4 ratio is going to have to do for now. But yeah, in the future I am going to be able to get one. And so Windows mode. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'll look into that. Okay. Try it in window mode. Um, is the sound still too high? Is the sound still too high? Okay. I can set the game sound a little bit lower if you want. Um, and we'll put it right there. Okay, so now it's a little bit lower. For some reason I'm not set to busy anymore. I don't know why that is. Like, it just randomly turned to not busy. Alright. Anyways, that's going to be it for my short break. I'm gonna do 2 more replays here. And once again, I haven't looked at either of these. These are just kind of random. Let's see. Which ones to pick? Well, luckily it's not on Zalnaka Caverns, because I'm kind of sick of that map. So we're going to do these 2. Alright, so once again I'm doing these blind. I don't have any notes or anything. I haven't even seen these two replays. They could totally suck. Actually, that's the point because this is analysis. So yeah, they probably will suck, which is good. Whoops, I paused. Let me put on my... There, hopefully you can see it now. Alright, it should be good now. Alright, so Dragon looks like he spawned at the top here as our red Protoss player. And his opponent is Wickek, who is our submitter here. I do know it's him. So it is a Terran against Protoss. Red against blue, pretty standard colored. And, well, there's going to be a supply depot. Alright, well, let's blast through this a little bit faster. Get through some of the boring stuff. You know, once again, I haven't really seen these before, so I can't really go through it too fast. First probe coming up here, checking things out. Just going the usual counterclockwise type style with this SCV. Of course, the SCV is going to find the opponent first. And, well, Mr. Wickek, okay, you're going for that refinery, which is good. Looks like pretty good play so far. Nothing out of the ordinary. Looks like a pretty standard build from both players, in fact. Gateway, good timing on the assimilator, good timing on the gateway and the pylon. No cyber, good timing on nuts. First marine coming out, and we'll see when that tech begins. Now, I mean, some players choose to go for 2 barracks with that refinery, so you can add on a tech lab and a reactor right away, and just pump out some guys, and then expand or attack with that. Totally fine. Looks like he's going to be going for... Actually, yeah, he's going to be going for that. Double barracks. I'd say maybe this barracks could be a little bit sooner. You want to try to get it as soon as possible, type of thing in your play. Only time you don't want to is if you're going to add on like a bunch of barracks at once and you want them all finished at once so guys can crank out all at once. So, okay, going for that fast concussive shell, getting some marines out. Good. Some supply depots. Pretty good so far from Wickek. Protoss looks like he does have a little bit of money saved up. He does have another gateway coming online. Second gas isn't being taken. I mean, it was taken, but it wasn't. There's no guys in it because he's busy with the stalker. I don't know. I'd say a lot of players actually screw that up. You know, I've said this a few times already today, where players just generally forget things in their base because they're too busy trying to micro. You know, I don't have my view on that stalker. I'm not sure what he was doing exactly, but it just looked like he had his vision on that stalker.